This Dustin issue. Shows up at the airport. If you haven't seen the video, he showed up at an airport, got on an airplane, and eventually got kicked off that airplane before it took off because he was drunk. He didn't have one too many, he had 10 too many. He was belligerent, he was going crazy. He got kicked off the airplane, he's in the airport, and this cop approaches him. The cop is doing his best, but man, Dustin is making it hard. And we got one of the best memes of all time, IGBBMN. Hilarious. But I think why I wanted to talk about it is because I've seen that guy's career. I studied that guy for a good 5 or 6 months doing a documentary on him on my other channel. Put a lot of effort into this guy. Tried to figure out who this guy is. Try to see, you know, as much of him that I can. This guy cares about his family. This guy is a pretty upright guy, and I think a lot of the fans like him for 2 reasons. His fight style is, he is not gonna back out of a fight. He is not gonna clench with you. He is gonna go to war. He's a striker. He tries for fun submissions, but he doesn't just sit there and grind it out if it doesn't work. He kind of is good, fluid at transitioning into different attempts, keeps it exciting. He is pretty honorable. You know, Conor got under his skin, Chandler got under his skin, of course, but the guy is a pretty stand-up guy. You know, someone that you could put some trust in, or seemingly so. You never really know. But then you see him, you know, he retires, hard stop. He's done with everything, away from the gym, away from the thing that he's dedicated the last 15, 20 years of his life towards, and all of a sudden, it's silence. The music stops. He's got 5 hours out of his day where it's just open. Or what? I was getting up to do push-ups. I was getting up to do a workout. I was getting up to help my friend who's got a fight this week, and I was getting up to train. I was getting up to learn this technique. I was going over here to learn this technique with this guy, and all of a sudden, that goal he's been working towards his whole life isn't there. Talked to a mentor about this. I listened to John Wood, who's a MMA coach at Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas. Syndicate, of course, is Khalil Roundtree, Rob Valashvili. These, you know, some of the greatest fighters right now are training under John Wood. And he said, you can't go from everything to just cutting everything out and going to nothing. You need a reason to get up in the morning. Now, I won't beat a dead horse. There's a greater reason to get up in the morning than just MMA. But you need a purpose. You need a reason to get out of bed. You need a reason to be disciplined, to work towards something. Men need that. And Dustin wakes up and, you know, how the turns have tabled, right? We go from Conor being a maniac to claiming he knows God, and in his darkest time, he's tweeting about God, to Dustin being a pretty stand-up, family-friendly guy, loves his family. He's showing up drunk at an airport, getting in a fight with a cop. We're, I don't know, lucky, maybe, blessed, fortunate that Dustin's alive right now. It could have gone a whole lot worse. What I wanted to say, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, is it's really shameful what happened, but I want the best for him. What I've seen is, I think he'll have people around him that will rebuke him, that'll say, hey man, what's going on? How can we help you? How can we help you get out of this funk? Something else John Wood said is you gotta have something. You know, maybe he talked about when a fighter wants to retire. Well, okay, we're not going to do any professional bouts. We're not going to do any fights. How about let's keep training and maybe you'll do wrestling, or maybe you'll do something to keep yourself busy and occupied and working towards something. Even if it's golf, man, and this is just me talking, you know, something that will, you could focus your mind on and work at getting better at, or being productive in, being creative maybe. He needs something. And he's got the ESPN, but clearly that's not enough for him. For a guy who was standing and banging with all of his opponents, I mean, just brawling. I mean, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of this guy. To go from all that testosterone and focus to just, you know, being an analyst. And I don't mean just being an analyst with disrespect. I mean, it's not the same sort of adrenaline rush. I mean, every fighter will tell you that nothing fills that void. So you gotta stay in the gym. You gotta have, you know, something you're working towards, a goal. And he went to nothingness. So he was in a dark area as well, but I would say I wouldn't kick him while he's down. You know, I think he can come back. I think personally, I don't know about objectively, because he's a great analyst. He belongs on an analyst desk. I think that if you know Dustin's backstory, it gives him gives his words a lot of weight because he's been there. Now, I think all 3 of the other analysts on the UFC, I don't know what it's called Deep Waters, their show, their MMA podcast show. I think all 4 of them, Chris Weidman, Dean Thomas, or him as well. Yeah, so all of them were former professional fighters. But when Dustin speaks on a desk where you have just some lady that's never stepped in, it's like, you know, what do you know? You can cover the sport well, objectively, what do you know? When you listen to a guy like Dustin talk, and he's sort of a man of few words. You can tell he's trying to step out of his shell, but it has some credence what he's saying. He just got out of fighting. You know, a lot of these people still in there, he's talked about, yeah, I can still beat these guys. So he has a taste for what it's like to be in there with these people right now. You know, Dean Thomas, been retired a little while. Jorge, haven't seen him in a while. He's doing his own promotion. But I love listening to Dustin, so I think he's got a lot to work toward. And you know, if you're a believer, pray for him. On this show, I just wanted to make something that, you know, I can talk about the greatest sport in the world. Owen Lee Productions is the name of the documentary channel. And I say documentary, but it's kind of more of a docu-movie or a movie. So I try and make it not just a David Attenborough, one of the greatest of all time, but I'm not trying to, here is Dustin Poirier at age, you know, it's just, it doesn't work for the style that I'm going for. I want to make it sort of like a movie or like an exciting thing with a narrative. So those are, if you put the @ sign in the search bar, if you're searching for my channel, it's @ Owen Lee Productions. Thank you guys so much. See you soon.